Hi there, guys. Welcome back to another video today. Today we're going to talk about 3.2.1.2, which is going to discuss all about cytotoxic CD8 plus T cell activation. To kind of get started, we're going to revisit the topic that we kind of discussed in the last video, and that was about how we actually got T cells. So just to revisit, T cells come from the bone marrow originally, but then they need to travel to the thymus so that they can be matured there in the thymus and go through their positive and negative selection. Once a T cell does that, it will actually be qualified between a CD8 and a CD4 cell based on that molecule that can actually bind to the MHC2 or MHC1 proteins on any cell. Just to give a kind of brief overview of the cells that we'll be looking at in this video, we've got our TCR here on the left. We've got our MHC1 molecules that are right here as well. We've got our CD8 molecule that will work with our TCR. And then this is what we're going to use as our cytotoxic T cell. So to kind of give a brief overview of how a cytotoxic T cell helps, is that it is mainly focused on intracellular pathogens. The most common intracellular pathogen that we experience in our daily life is a virus. A virus will bind to most likely our respiratory epithelium and will infect the cells that are lining that epithelial layer. When this happens, these infected cells will then produce more viruses that then get into our system and can infect other cells. Thankfully, we've got some dendritic cells and macrophages that are in the area that can actually consume, ingest, and destroy these viruses so that it can then present those antigens onto MHC1 molecules. This dendritic cell will then now travel to the nearest lymph node where it can find, hopefully, some CD8 plus mature naive cells. Once it does find a mature naive CD8 plus cell that can actually identify and react with this antigen, the TCR of the cell will bind to it, and the CD8 molecule will bind to the MHC1 complex. This is step one of cytotoxic T cell activation. Step two is the binding of co-stimulatory molecules, very similar to CD4 plus activation, and then the release of cytokines from the dendritic cell onto the cytotoxic T cell. The release of these cytokines will fully activate it, which will then lead to the proliferation and differentiation of the cytotoxic T cell into multiple cytotoxic T cells, but also into plasma cells. The plasma cells will be kept in the lymph node for future use if the pathogen ever returns, but these cytotoxic T cells will then go into the system near where there is any infection and scavenge for any cells that may be infected. These cells have to represent any antigen that is in it on its MHC1 molecules. And when these cells find a molecule with an incorrect antigen present, and specifically this viral pathogen, it will bind to it, and then it will release specific molecules that will actually destroy the cell. This is how we can kind of avoid any damage from viral pathogens thanks to our cytotoxic T cells. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.